Good afternoon, students. Welcome to the class on coordination chemistry. We have just discussed about crystal field splitting and calculation of CFS. Now we will see factors that influence delta naught value. Factors that influence crystal field splitting in octahedral complexes. Please take the notes along with me. The magnitude of delta naught depends on the following factors. We will go one by one. Nature of the ligands. In the previous cases, in valency bond theory or Werner's theory, there is no explanation why some ligands will give low spin complexes, some ligands will give high spin complexes. But the crystal field theory has clearly given the idea when we will get a low spin complex and when we will get a high spin complex. It is purely based on the nature of the ligand. Delta naught increases with the increase in strength of the ligand. If the ligand is weak, it will give high spin complex. That means it cannot force the electrons to pair up. But if the ligand is strong, it will force the electrons to pair up. So it will give low spin. So that is the difference between low spin and high spin complex. In order to explain the strength of the ligands, crystal field splitting theory provides spectrochemical series. What is spectrochemical series? Spectrochemical series arranges different ligands according to their strength. According to crystal spectrochemical series, iodine is the ligand with the lowest strength. That means it is the weakest ligand. Then bromine, then sulfide ion, then thiocyanate ion, then nitrate ion, then azide ion, then fluoride ion, then urea and hydroxide ion, then ethanol. You must remember this complete series. Then oxalate ion, then water, hydride, EDTA, NCS, acetonitrile, pyridine, which is having equal strength as ammonia, urea and OH minus are having equal strength. Similarly, pyridine and ammonia are having equal strength. Then ethylene diamine, hydroxylamine, then dipyridine, then orthophenanthroline, then methyl ion and phenyl. Both are having same strength. Nitro group, then triphenyl phosphine, then Cn minus, and then CO. This is the complete spectrochemical series. Here starting elements are weak field ligands. These are called weak field ligands, whereas the end elements in this series, these are called strong field ligands. Strong field ligands. When you look at this complete series, you can simply make 4 groups. The first group is halogens, iodine, bromine, fluorine. Chlorine is missing, right? Yes. SCN minus. After SCN minus, it is chlorine. Before nitro, it is chlorine. Yeah. Iodine, bromine, chlorine, then fluorine. Next group is oxygen group. Next group is oxygen group. OH, ethanol, oxalate, water. These are all oxygen group. Then next group is nitrogen group. EDTA, NCS, acetonitrile, pyridine, ammonia, ethylene diamine, hydroxylamine, dipyridine, orthophenanthrene. These are all nitrogen group. Next group is carbon group. Methyl, phenyl, cyanide, CO. So in short, please keep your video off. In short, we can say the halogens, then oxygen group ligands, then nitrogen group ligands, then carbon group ligands. This is the strength of the ligands. So it is given by spectrochemical series. These generally from nitrogen we call them strong field ligands, but generally this methyl, phenyl, nitro, triphenyl phosphine, CN and CO, these are real strong field ligands. So when they are present in the complex, they will force the electrons to pair up. So they will give low spin complex. These carbon ligands, when they are present in the molecule, they will give low spin complex. For example, if there is a complex, if there are 2 complexes, COCN6 3 minus ion and CONH3 6 times 3 plus ion. Look at these 2 complexes. Both are octahedral, both are having cobalt, and in both cases cobalt is in +3 oxidation state. So with respect to cobalt there is no change, but the change is in ligands. Here cyanide ligands, here ammonia ligands. Now according to spectrochemical series, CN is a strong field ligand, ammonia is a weak field ligand. Because CN is a strong field ligand, it will have greater splitting, so it will have high delta value. It will have high delta value. Whereas ammonia, it is a weak field ligand, it will not have high field. That means splitting is little lower. Splitting is little lower. In order to give a complete difference between low spin weak field ligands and strong field ligands, yeah, in case of weak field ligands, this is the weak field ligands, this is the splitting, this is the delta naught. Whereas in case of strong field ligand, if the ligands are strong, then they will have large delta value. So the difference can be explained in a simple diagram. For a weak field ligand, delta naught is very low, whereas for a strong field ligand, delta naught is very, very high. That is why the fourth electron will not have that much high energy, so it will not go to EG level. Because EG level is having very high energy compared to T2G level, the fourth electron cannot go there. So what it will do? It will simply pair up in the T2G level itself. Whereas in the case of weak field ligand, the energy difference is very low. Energy difference is very low. So the fourth electron, after having 3 electrons in T2G level, the fourth electron can easily go to EG level. So here we don't observe any pairing for the fourth electron. So that is why they will give low spin complexes. they will give they will give high spin complexes, whereas a strong field ligands, they will give low spin complexes. The second point that influences the magnitude of delta naught is the charge on the metal ion. The magnitude of delta naught increases as the charge on the metal ion increases. See, if all other terms are common, same, and the only difference is charge on the metal ion, then we can say delta naught value for metal in +3 oxidation state are generally 30% larger than delta naught value for a metal in 2 plus oxidation state. If all other terms and conditions are same, and only difference between two different complexes is the oxidation state of the metal, then metal with highest oxidation state will have highest delta value. For example, look at these two examples. FeH2O 6 times 2 plus and FeH2O 6 times 3 plus. The same complex. In one case, iron is in 2 plus oxidation state. In another case, iron is in 3 plus oxidation state. When we look at this, for the delta naught values, first complex will have a delta naught value of 10,400 centimeter inverse, whereas the second complex will have a delta naught value of 13,000 centimeter. That means clearly metal with the highest oxidation state will have highest delta naught value compared to metal with lowest oxidation state. Similarly, you compare between these two complexes. K4 Fe Cn 6 times and K3 Fe Cn 6 times. You don't need to remember these values. I have just given for information. Here, iron is in 2 plus oxidation state, whereas here iron is in 3 plus oxidation state. So in potassium ferricyanide, the complex will have high delta value compared to potassium ferrocyanide. The reason for large delta values in metal with large or high charge is that if the charge is very high, then metal will have small size. Because metal is in small size, the bond length will be short. Because of the short bond length, it will have greater repulsions with ligand electrons and stronger interactions. Greater repulsions or stronger interactions makes the greater delta value for metals with high oxidation state. A third point that influences delta naught value is delta naught increases down the group. Delta naught increases down the group. That means if we compare a 3D element and a 4D element, the delta naught will be generally 30 to 50% increase in delta naught value. That means compared to a 3D element, 4D element will have 30 to 50% high delta naught value. Similarly, when we compare a 3D and 5D elements, 5D elements will have 30 to 50% high delta value. So with the decrease, uh, when we move from 3D to 4D or 4D to 5D, delta naught increases. When we look at the fourth point, it is the number delta naught value depends on the number and geometry of the ligands. Generally, delta naught or delta value for a square planar complex is very high compared to octahedral complex and then tetrahedral complex. So energy gap is high for square planar complexes, then octahedral complexes, then tetrahedral complexes. Now I'll give you a problem which is having larger delta naught value. You just compare the pair of complexes and then just say which one will have high delta value and why. You just look at all these 4 points and then compare these complexes. You just compare these pairs. Compare them and write the reason. Now we will discuss about pairing energy. Pairing energy is indicated by P. Pairing energy is nothing but the energy necessary to cause electron pairing in a single orbital. What is pairing energy? Electrons generally will have plus of spin, but when we want to pair them, one electron has to reverse its spin. So when it becomes minus of, then only it will get paired up, otherwise it won't. So the energy must be applied to reverse the spin. So that's what pairing energy, the energy necessary to cause electron pairing in a single orbital. For weak field ligands, delta naught is less than P. That means energy gap between T2G level and EG level is low compared to pairing energy. Because delta naught is low, electron can easily go to EG level. So we don't observe any pairing. If delta naught is smaller compared to pairing energy, then we don't observe any pairing energy. So that is the reason why for weak field ligands, we will have high spin complex. In case of strong field ligands, the pairing energy is high, pairing energy is low compared to delta naught. Delta naught is very high, and electrons doesn't have that much energy, whereas pairing energy is low. Electrons can easily have this pairing energy, so pairing occurs. I'll try to explain it. For weak field ligands, what happens? Delta naught is small, pairing energy it may be high. So instead of gaining this much energy, it is easy to gain this much energy. So instead of pairing, what electron will do? Electron will go to Eg level. Electron will go to Eg level. Whereas in case of strong field ligands, delta naught is very high compared to pairing energy. Pairing energy is low, delta naught is high. So what the electron will do, fourth electron, instead of going there, what it will do, it will easily pair, because it needs very small energy to pair. But if it wants to go to Eg level, it needs very large energy, so it will not go to Eg level. So that is the explanation for pairing energy. Now, with including pairing energy, we can have low spin, we can have CFSE. So CFSE is equal to minus 0.4 delta naught into number of electrons in T2G plus 0.6 delta naught into number of electrons in Eg level plus number of electron pairs. X is number of electron pairs. X number of electron pairs. P is pairing energy. P is pairing energy. X is number of electrons. For example, D6 low spin complex, it will have 6 electrons in T2G level itself. 6 electrons in T2G level itself. So here we have 3 pair of electrons. 3 pair of electrons. Therefore, CFSE for this complex will be minus 2.4 delta naught plus 3 into pairing energy. Plus 3 into pairing energy. When we have the value of pairing energy and delta naught, we can easily calculate the CFSE. This is how we need to calculate pairing energy.